Hi, this is Mike from Swimex, and today's maintenance tip will be going over recaulking your seams. So the process to go ahead and re-silicone your Swimex is pretty quick and pretty painless. The silicone is strictly for cosmetic purposes only. All of our Swimex pools, when you have separate fiberglass pieces, are bonded underneath with fiberglass bracketing. The caulk is just simply there to make everything look seamless. So for this task, we have the tools laid out here on the table. Mainly latex gloves. Keep your hands clean during this task. We'll be using a razor knife to go ahead and cut away that old split caulk that you have on your Swimex. Once that's all cut away, we'll be using a combination of a soft rag and some Fantastic to clean that old seam, clean away into that old silicone. Once that's complete, we'll be using masking tape to mask both sides of the seam to keep the new seam looking nice and pretty. And then we'll be using standard caulk gun, along with our recommended caulk, which is a Boss 801 silicone, specifically designed for the pool and spa industry, and also some tongue depressors or popsicle sticks to give the silicone a nice smooth finish. So step one in the process, we're going to go ahead and use our utility knife to cut away the old split caulk.
What?
So go ahead and take our sharp utility knife and get that under that split caulk. And you just want to go ahead and continue down, right down the seam. You may want to cut it like a V. That may help to get it away from the vertical wall as well as the tunnel piece on the Swimex. Okay, now we'll go back over, coming down along vertically. So you're almost cutting like a V shape, vertical and then horizontal, to get as much of that old caulk out of there. And you can go ahead and remove that old silicone. So we just removed the old split caulk of our affected area. We'll now go ahead and prep the area for recaulking. So step two in the process is to go ahead and wipe the area that we just cut away. We want to make sure there's no loose debris. We want that seam to be nice and clean before our next step, which will be we'll start masking it with the masking tape to apply the new level layer of silicone. We will now apply our masking tape. What you'd like to do is go ahead and apply 2 layers of the 1-inch masking tape, one on each side of the seam to be caulked. That'll keep it nice and clean when it comes time to clean up afterwards. So now we'll go ahead and put our masking tape on the other side of the seam. And the key here is to make sure the surface itself is dry. Make sure the tape sits really well. You don't want to have any gaps with spacing or air trapped behind the tape. That'll only go ahead and allow air and your caulk to get out. And there you go. Our seam to be caulked has now been masked, and we'll be ready for the next step. Okay, now our next step is to go ahead and get ready to go ahead and re-silicone that seam. So you want to get your standard caulk gun ready, your tube of silicone, preferably Boss 801, and make sure you don't cut the tip too big. We actually recommend a 3/16 hole. That'll actually give you a nice bead coming out of your silicone gun. Okay, and now we're ready to go. So the key is to go ahead and make sure you don't take too large of a section. You want to be able to work the amount of seam that you're working with. So we've got our seam here laid out. It's probably about 3.5 feet long. And what we're going to do is just start applying the bead. You don't want to go overkill, but nice and easy. Keep the gun moving. You just want to keep it nice and consistent. we go, just about the length that we're gonna go ahead and caulk here. And stop. And now our next step is to go ahead and put a smooth finish to the silicone. What we'll use here is a little Fantastic and a tongue depressor or popsicle stick. If you don't have one of these, you can also just spray a little Fantastic on your finger as well. So go ahead and, believe it or not, the Fantastic will actually keep the silicone from sticking to either your finger or the tongue depressor. And you just want to run that over at a smooth pace, and that'll take that caulk, fill in that seam nicely, and also give it a nice smooth finish. Now we'll go ahead and apply a little Fantastic to your fingertip. That works really well as well. It allows you to work that silicone in, give it a nice smooth finish, and not allow the silicone to stick to your finger, which is the key. All right, we'll give it one more time over that seam to give it a nice finish. There you go, it gives it a nice, smooth finish. Okay, our last step now, we're gonna just remove our masking tape, and that'll be the last step of the process. So we just wanna carefully peel that up and just pull continuously. Remove the lower mask first. And then we wanna come back and carefully lift up on masking tape up on the vertical wall. Go ahead and pull that away. And then if your silicone needs a little more touch-up, you would just go ahead and spray a little Fantastic on your finger or on your popsicle stick, and you can go right over that continuous seam one more time. And that completes the process of recaulking a Swimx pool. The key thing to keep in mind is that the caulk is strictly for cosmetic purposes only to help make the seam look more appealing.